In California, most law enforcement officers are now banned from wearing masks while on the job. But tonight, enforcement of the law is being delayed. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. It is a story ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen has been covering for months, stemming from increased immigration enforcement throughout 2025. And Jeannie joins us live in studio right now to break down some of the details.
Well, Alex, the state has agreed to not enforce this law as it's currently being challenged in court. The bill's author, Senator Scott Wiener, says even though the state isn't enforcing it, it is still in effect.
It's now illegal for ICE and other law enforcement to cover their faces in the state of California.
Democratic Senator Scott Wiener posted this video on New Year's Day, letting people know his bill, Senate Bill 627, is now in effect. It prohibits local and federal law enforcement from wearing masks that cover their faces. California Highway Patrol officers are exempt. But it's this video that prompted First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli to respond with this tweet, telling the senator his message is not true.
He knows he cannot do this. The state has no jurisdiction or authority to regulate federal officers. That's not the way our country works. If you want to regulate federal agents, you have to go win federal elections.
On December 9th, the state agreed it will not enforce or take action to enforce SB 627. This is part of the ongoing lawsuit from the Trump administration against the state.
We have a court hearing scheduled on January 12th in which we have a judge that will hear the arguments for us to strike down California's law. California has to respond to that, and they got to defend this law in court.
Even though the state has agreed to not enforce the law, Senator Wiener says he respects the legal challenge of his legislation, but it's still in effect.
Local law enforcement can enforce it, and people can sue agents for violating their rights while covering their faces.
In response to trying to enforce state laws on federal agents, Senator Wiener says he's doing the work because Congress has not.
Congress has not done that. And federal agents have to comply with many state laws.
Now, Jeannie, I got to ask you, while this law is making its way through the legal process, what did the U.S. Attorney's Office say about, if people do have questions or concerns about this, what should they do if they have questions about that mask ban?
Well, Alex, Bill Essayli tells me the easiest thing for people to do is to call 911. He also encourages people to not interfere with active enforcement operations. And again, if people have any questions, to report it to their local law enforcement. And on top of that, he says that, there shouldn't be any confusion as to who these agents are, because they should have identifying features such as marked units, uniforms, and badges.
Badges, yeah. I know that the New York Times actually did a great breakdown of the badges that a lot of people wear too, if you want to check that out. Jeannie, thank you so much. I appreciate it.